Breaking news for everyone who counts on that monthly Social Security check. Your payment is about to change, and if you're not ready, you could be left wondering where your money went, why your deposit looks different, or why it hit your account later than usual. What happens in the next few weeks could affect your bills, your grocery budget, and the security of your household. Starting January 1st, a major cost of living adjustment kicks in, and that means more money for most beneficiaries. But it also means changes in deductions, timing, and even taxes. If you rely on your check to cover rent, medication, or food, what you do right now could make all the difference between feeling prepared and being caught off guard. But don't worry, I've got you covered. This channel is built for you, the people who need clear, honest explanations about your benefits without the confusion or technical talk. I'm here to make sure you're ready before that first deposit of the new year arrives. My name is John Miller, and for the past 15 years, I've been helping retirees, disabled workers, and families understand how the Social Security system really works, how changes like the cost of living adjustment or COLA affect your wallet, and how to avoid being tripped up by shifting payment schedules and deductions. I've spent years reviewing official bulletins, tracking notices from the Social Security Administration, reading through Congressional Budget Office data, and speaking directly with field office representatives about what these numbers actually mean for everyday Americans. According to the latest Social Security Administration report, more than 72 million Americans receive benefits each month: retirees, survivors, and people receiving disability and supplemental security income. Together, these payments represent over $1 trillion annually. The SSA recently announced that, beginning January 2025, all Social Security and SSI benefits will increase by 3.2%, affecting more than 66 million Social Security recipients and around 8 million SSI recipients. That's real money. But it also brings new calculations for Medicare premiums, new income limits, and new tax thresholds that can quietly eat into that raise if you don't plan for them. Now picture this. It's the first week of January. You open your online banking app expecting the same deposit you've seen every month, but the number looks a little off. Maybe it's higher than usual. Maybe it's smaller after deductions. Or maybe it hasn't arrived yet, and you start to panic. Rent's due, your electric bill is pending, and you're staring at your account wondering if something went wrong. You call your bank, they say it's not them. You call Social Security, you sit on hold for an hour. You start asking yourself, did they skip me? Did my benefit stop? What if this is permanent? That confusion, that stress, is what I want you to avoid. Because the truth is, nothing is wrong. You just weren't told clearly enough how the COLA works or when those new payments actually land. For many people, this misunderstanding causes days of anxiety, missed bills, even overdraft fees. Here's what nobody's talking about. The 3.2% COLA increase is not just an automatic raise. It's an inflation adjustment that's designed to help your benefits keep pace with rising prices. It's calculated using something called the Consumer Price Index for urban wage earners and clerical workers, the CPIW. Sounds technical, right? But in plain English, it just means the government measures how much the average cost of food, gas, rent, and healthcare went up, and then uses that data to boost your benefit by roughly the same percentage. So if you currently receive $1,800 a month, a 3.2% increase means about $57 more each month, roughly $1,857 starting with your January payment. If you receive SSI, that adjustment applies as well. For an individual SSI recipient who received $943 a month in 2024, the new 2025 maximum is about $973. For a married couple, the combined maximum goes from $1,415 to about $1,260. It's a modest bump, but it matters. Now here's where it gets interesting and where people get tripped up. Even though your gross benefit goes up, your net deposit may not. Why? Because your Medicare Part B premium is also changing. The standard Part B premium in 2025 rises from $174.70 to roughly $185. So if that premium is deducted from your check, part of your COLA raise could vanish before you even see it. For many retirees, the net increase will feel more like $20 to $30, not $50 or $60. And if you have income-related premium adjustments, meaning you pay more because of your total income, that deduction might be larger still. Now think about the payment schedule. Most people receive their benefits on the second, third, or fourth Wednesday of the month, depending on the day of your birth. People born between the 1st and the 10th get paid on the second Wednesday, those born between the 11th and 20th on the third Wednesday, and those born after the 20th on the fourth. If you're receiving both Social Security and SSI, your SSI usually arrives on the 1st of the month, while your Social Security benefit arrives later based on your birthday. But here's the twist. When the 1st of the month falls on a holiday or weekend, SSI pays early, meaning you might get 2 SSI checks in one month and none the next. That can confuse your budget if you're not expecting it. For example, January 1st, 2025 is a holiday, so SSI payments for January will actually arrive on December 31st, 2024. That means you'll see 2 SSI payments in December, one for December itself and one for January, and none in early January. Then regular payments resume in February. Knowing this ahead of time keeps you from thinking something went wrong when your January 1st deposit doesn't appear. Let me tell you a story. My own mother, who's been on SSDI for years, called me last winter in tears because she thought her payment had vanished. She woke up on New Year's Day, checked her bank app, and saw nothing. She said, "They skipped me. I can't pay my light bill." After 10 minutes of panic, we looked closer and realized she'd actually received her January deposit on December 29th because the first fell on a weekend. She had already spent part of it on holiday groceries, thinking it was her December check. That's when I realized how many of you probably go through the same thing. Scared, confused, and thinking the government took something away when it's really just timing. The system isn't trying to trick you, but it sure doesn't make it easy to understand. And listen, I get it. When you're living on a fixed income, every dollar counts. You plan your rent, your medicine, your groceries down to the penny. A simple change in deposit date can throw everything off. That's why knowing the schedule and understanding how this COLA works is so important. Now let's talk numbers for a second, because the SSA's math matters. Across all programs, this 3.2% increase represents over $58 billion in additional payments in 2025. The average retired worker benefit rises from about $907 to $1,968 a month. Disabled workers see their average check climb from $1,537 to about $1,586, and surviving spouses, on average, go from around $1,717 to roughly $1,172. Those are meaningful changes, but only if you manage them wisely. So here's my advice. Spoken from experience. Don't treat that extra money as bonus cash. Treat it as a buffer against inflation. Prices for groceries, utilities, and healthcare aren't going down anytime soon. Put the additional dollars toward your necessities first. Set aside at least one payment ahead if you can. Build yourself a small cushion so that if a deposit ever comes early or late, you're not left in panic mode. Make sure your bank account is current and accurate, because even a small typo or expired direct deposit routing can delay your payment by weeks. If you receive SSI or SSDI, confirm that your eligibility details are up to date. Report any changes in address, income, or living situation, because the agency is stepping up verification this year. Failing to report even a small income change can trigger overpayments that take months to fix. And sadly, there are scammers who know these COLA announcements create confusion. If someone calls claiming your Social Security number has been suspended or that you must pay to unlock your benefit, hang up immediately. The SSA will never demand money, gift cards, or personal data over the phone. Always check official mail for the SSA seal or verified messages through your online My Social Security account. Now, here's what nobody's talking about: tax implications. Even with a modest increase, your taxable income can rise enough to push part of your Social Security benefits into the taxable range. If you're single and your combined income tops $25,000, or married filing jointly, and it tops $32,000, up to 50% of your benefits may be taxable. Above $34,000 single or $44,000 joint, as much as 85% of your benefits can be subject to tax. So talk to a tax preparer or use an online calculator to see whether your new COLA raise nudges you into that zone. The last thing you want is to owe taxes on a benefit meant to protect you from inflation. And to everyone listening right now, let me pause to say this again. Subscribing to these updates is like building yourself an insurance policy made of information. I'll be here every week breaking down the truth, explaining the next policy shifts, and showing you how to stay ahead of the curve. This community exists to protect people who depend on these benefits, people like you who deserve to know exactly what's happening with your money. Think about it. Wouldn't it feel safer knowing someone is watching the deadlines and decoding the official notices for you? I'm not saying this for me, I'm saying this for you. So hit that subscribe button and join thousands of others who refuse to be caught off guard. Now let's zoom out. Why does this whole adjustment exist? Why can't Social Security just pay a flat amount forever? Because inflation never stops moving. Over the past 50 years, COLA adjustments have ranged from 0% in low inflation years to over 14% in the late 1970s. The system is designed to preserve purchasing power, not create profit. Without these adjustments, your benefit would slowly lose value every year as prices rose. The 3.2% bump may not sound like much, but over a year, it can mean $700 or more for an average retiree, and that's enough to cover several months of prescriptions or a few extra grocery trips. Still, the system isn't perfect. The CPIW doesn't always reflect the real inflation seniors face, because retirees spend more on healthcare and housing than on things like fuel and clothing. Some advocacy groups have pushed for a new index, the CPIE, focused on elderly consumers, to replace the CPIW for COLA calculations. Congress has debated it for years but hasn't acted yet. Until they do, these adjustments will continue to trail behind real senior expenses. That's why being proactive, budgeting, checking your deductions, and planning ahead is your best defense. Now take a deep breath. Let's put this in perspective. Yes, the COLA is real. Yes, the increase is automatic. But it's not magic money. You'll need to watch how it interacts with Medicare, with taxes, and with your state benefits. For instance, some states adjust Medicaid eligibility thresholds each year after the COLA, but there's often a delay. That gap can cause temporary benefit interruptions. Stay in touch with your local social services office if you receive both federal and state assistance, so you don't get caught in that lag. And one more thing, timing. If your regular payment date falls on a federal holiday, you'll get paid the business day before. That's why December often includes a double payment month for SSI recipients. It's not a bonus, it's just the system avoiding holiday closures. So don't spend both payments at once. Remember, there will be no deposit the following month. Honestly, I know all of this can feel overwhelming. The letters from the SSA are written in government language, full of codes and footnotes. The phone lines are jammed. The news headlines only tell half the story. But you don't have to go through it alone. Together, we can turn all that confusion into clarity, all that anxiety into preparation. What would it mean to you if you never had to wonder about your Social Security check again? If you could look at your calendar and know the exact day and amount with no surprises? That's what I'm here for. Clarity, security, and peace of mind. So subscribe now, not because I'm asking, but because you deserve to feel protected and informed. I know some of you are tired of feeling ignored, like the system's too complicated to understand. But here's what I've learned in 15 years of doing this. The people who stay informed are the ones who stay secure. The 3.2% COLA increase starts in January. Most checks will arrive the second, third, or fourth Wednesday. SSI arrives December 31st. Medicare premiums rise slightly. Taxes may change. That's the truth. And knowing those details ahead of time means you're already ahead of the system. So take this moment to plan, to prepare, and to protect yourself. 2025 doesn't have to start with confusion. It can start with confidence. I'll be back later this week with a breakdown of the exact payment calendar and how to calculate your new benefit down to the penny. Until then, stay alert, stay informed, and remember, you are not alone in this.